concept of the nation-state and civil society lies between the people itself. So which means ang konsepto ng nation-state at civil society ay nasa pagitan lamang ng mga tao. So according to Collins Dictionary, nation-state as an independent state which consists of people from one particular nation group. So similarly, when a nation of people have a state or country of their own, so which means kapag ang isang bansa ay may sariling estado, ito ay tinatawag nating nation state. So ang some example of a nation state includes France, Egypt, Germany, Japan, and etc. So I think Philippines is also a nation state. It's because the people of the Philippines are a nation and the government of the Philippines control the Philippines themselves. So they are also called a state because nation pertains to the people and state pertains to the government. So that's why Philippines considered as a nation state. So civil society created by people for the purpose to unite people to advance shared goals and interests. Some example of civil society include schools, universities, advocacy groups, professional association, church, and cultural institution. So since nation state and civil society has connection, so that's why it needs the people cooperation and unity of people to become stronger and to avoid weakness. So in other words, it is only up to the people on how they perform it well.
So global flaws have been a common thread to almost of all in the nation state. So according to Manieka, the movement of goods, services, finance, and people has reached previously unimagined levels. So global flaws may determine the fate of the nation state. Why? That is because, for example, the increased flaws are tied to the nation or to the idea that labor, products, and people have become more weightless, and it particularly will brought threat to the nation state. If not overseas, for example, conflicting flaws like terrorism, war, and global terrorist networks may arise that will harm the nation state. So one of the three major types of barriers to global flaws is the so-called deliberate blocks. According to Aishani via Quizlet, this is what nation-states create barriers to global flaws. For example, border control, health inspectors, customs agencies, and two-tiered systems are under this category. Those mentioned problems created are a potential threat to nation state, meaning if unsolved and if not carefully managed, the people will suffer. In this case, it is okay to have border control, for example, but we should remember that we need to adapt to the global flaws because it also has good effect to the nation state. It is just like to be unconnected is to fall behind.
Next questions, number 4. Analyze the concept of global governance and discuss the advocacy of such a government as a political tool in the real world. So, now, global governance is placed an emphasis to a political among transnational actors and has transnational practices that are able to cut across boundaries aimed at negotiating responses to problems arose and affects nation state. Since countries in the real sense has similar problems of the specific country that affects others. And then in the conception of the global governance has cooperative action that is based on rights and rules that are enforced through a combination of financial and moral incentives amongst different stakeholders to solve the problem. In short, global governance is defined as a complex of formal and informal institutions, relationships, and the processes between among states, markets, and organizations, both enter and non-governmental, through which collective interests, obligations, and privileges are accepted.
Number 5 question. Discuss the advantages of and challenges of the nation state and the context of imagined communities. Nation itself is composed of people that imagine or perceive themselves as a part of a group because citizens not see each other faces, and yet they consider themselves as a part of a community that share a region mutual interest and a deep horizontal comradeship. So there are 4 major advantages of the nation state. First, the lack of centralized dictatorship. So the president was not the only one that has the say on the country. Also, there are senators that made some decision for the country, and the people are allowed to give their opinion. Second is the nation state enable their societies and economies to develop. So societies are given right themselves to improve or develop. For example, LGBTQ society and the society of Muslim. So they have rights at all, and they were given freedom as long as it was not against the law that was established in the country. Third is a nation-state's whole environment, which democracy appear individuals are given freedom or they have rights to what they want as long as it was not against the law. Lastly, since as a people we perceive ourselves as part of the group, there is inclusiveness amongst particular cultures, and sometimes we understand other cultures also through enculturation. On the other hand, because of globalization, accelerating processes in it have challenged nation-states' capacity to contain, control, and harness flows of people. And because of it, there is a public sphere on nation-states, which results to legal migrants, new social movements, terrorists, criminals, drugs, money, sex trafficking, and sometimes because of the diverse culture brought by globalization. So there is a tendency that people feel exclusiveness.
Governing kailangan gyud og proseso like mag-undergo og decision making. Dili masidbi ang paghimo og institution without proper process. Example, kay ang UN need gyud og realm of politics, which is ang usa ka organization kailangan gyud og naay interest sa mga activity nga buhaton para malambo. The nation states helps for having good processing institutions by political interaction. UNCTAD, UNESCO, and IAEA are helping to improve and develop nations. UN fulfill its role of promoting sustainable peace and development, and processes of solving a problem is literally did.
The 7th question is present example of the new form of governance A. The first governance without government according to Rose Noah and Zempel 1982, government without government management. It is said to have the creation of voluntary regulation. There is no government institution bureaucracies that mandate society, and it is self-based regulate governance where it is not aligned with the laws. Lastly, the actor agree to a set of social and environmental practices that go beyond the state and enforce set of law where they are operated. Example is the social movement organization na belongs sa civic group. B. The second, governance through various public policy networks, governance through multi-stakeholder initiative that brings together various public and private actors into public policy networks and partnership. Multi-stakeholder is initiative provide governance in the form of service providing. Example ani is the World Commission on Dam, or WCD, is a commission with multi-stakeholder body initiated in 1997 by the World Bank or WB and the Bank Conservation Union. Its objective was to aid the development effectiveness of large dam and to develop best practice guidelines of large dam construction and management based on an extensive review of scientific evidence and wide-ranging stakeholder consultation according to Scholes and Adam 2019. C. Finally, governance at the global level can be normatively moderated and moderated. So there are transnational body where global governance has been added to court and lawyer, but whose authority is not based in international law. Example is the NAFTA, which means North American Free Trade Area, has an environmental side agreement that tries to make sure that members countries follow their own environmental laws.
Good morning, I am Jonofi Castro and I will be answering number 8. I will be presenting the negative side of NGOs in civil society. First, NGOs has a special or specific interest. It does not go beyond its interest, and NGOs association does not involve themselves on issues that is not a part of their interest. For example, Oxfam help refugees and children. They give them education and funding. Beyond that issues, Oxfam Association does not involve or consider helping because it's not a part of their special interest anymore. Second is, in NGOs Association, lower member or there is no equal in lawmaking. Members that is in lower position are not allowed to participate in planning and lawmaking. Also, NGOs is not accountable to share agendas to non-member. For example, Doctors Without Border is an association or an NGOs association that is composed of fronters, doctors and nurses. And Doctors Without Border, they do not share their agendas or plan to non-members of the group, and also the people that is making laws or planning as the higher member of the association. Lower members such as the volunteers is not allowed to participate in lawmaking. And also, Doctors Without Border do not share their agendas to the government and to the society or people. Number 3 is member of NGOs are mostly elite people. They are well-off or rich people. And sometimes NGOs impose inappropriate plan that is not appropriate within the society. For example, Amnesty International it fights for human rights. And once when Duterte was the president, Amnesty International is contradicting the Duterte campaign on war on drugs, but some of the Filipinos is in favor with President Duterte campaign, so it's inappropriate for the Amnesty International to involve themselves in this issue because some people are in favor with Mr. Duterte campaign. They indulge public opinion and attention, so mostly NGOs Association posting their achievement, posting their activities in order to gain attention from people, to gain members and supporters, because the more supporters they have, the more powerful or their association is, or the more their association will be known. Also, NGOs mislead information. NGOs twist information to mislead people, because in misleading information they are also gaining with it. Number 8, they focus on only one issue. This is the reason why some NGOs association does not develop its ability in dealing other issue, because they only focus on a certain issue that is gaining funds. Mostly NGOs focuses on issue that is where they gain more funds, forgetting those issues that not gaining the attention of masses. Number 9 is the NGOs is focusing only on issues that attract funds. Like I said earlier, they only focus on issues that attract funds, and they are neglecting the issues that is mostly important, but these issues are not getting some attention and funds, so they neglect it. Sometimes they forget to tackle these issues. They only focus on those issues that attracting attentions and funds, split between one another. So there are association or NGOs association that has conflict with each other, because their campaign or the campaign was contradict with each other. For example, is there are association that is not in favor with logging, since it destroyed our environment. It caused landslide or other issues that is negative to our environment. But there are also association that was in favor with logging, since logging can create coal. It is an alternative for coal. It also, woods are needed to build houses. So when this association two meet, they will have a conflict because their agendas is in conflict with each other. Then 11, elite of North dominate. So mostly elite from the North dominate NGOs association. So it raises questions on what about South association? Where are the South association of NGOs? Because mostly elite from North as NGOs is dominating. Number 12 of negative side of NGOs is NGOs are actors or Trojan horses. They giving impression that they are helping or operating within these abuses or issues, but the truth is they do not really helping with this issue, but sometimes they create more chaos or problem about these issues, and they are just sometimes actors, but their main purpose is to gain funds. Some association purpose are to gain funds or attention or power. They only act or giving impression to people that they are helping with abuses, with issues that is tackling abuses, but their main purpose really deep inside is just to gain power or attention on the masses. That will be all. I hope you understand my answer. Thank you.